Okay, shall we go ahead and get started?
Yeah.
Okay, so welcome everybody to our town hall. Mr. Bobadilla, you want to explain how this works?
Yeah, so this town hall, we will have Miss Irene translating for our Spanish-speaking parents. We feel that this is the best format to actually have her translate in real time as opposed to some other functions or features we were looking at. This call will also be recorded, is being recorded, and will be uploaded to YouTube for you to refer back at a later period in time.
Perfect. Please feel free to use the chat for
Yes,
any questions.
All questions, feel free to ask in the chat.
Ok, vamos a comenzar la reunión. Yo me llamo Irene Montoya, soy la que voy a traducir la reunión en el tiempo de la reunión al mismo tiempo. Si tiene cualquier pregunta, puede ingresarla en el área de chat en medio de la pantalla y vamos a comenzar la reunión.
So this is a very important week for our scholars. They are NWEA MAPS testing this week. So for us as educators, it's really important that we have accurate representation of where our scholars are at, so that we can use the data to drive our instruction, to provide individualized learning plans and come up with resources via distance learning, and also to help support you in your efforts at home as well, to really provide our kiddos with precisely what they need to grow and advance this year. My personal view is that each and every year, regardless of where our scholars come to us at, it's our responsibility to make sure and maintain that they are growing at least 1 year in every grade level. So we put some things in place also to help, of course, mitigate the learning loss and really target grade level skills. So along the lines of the NWEA MAPS assessment this week, teachers are giving that assessment with GoGuardian. GoGuardian allows teachers to view the screens of all students at the same time, so they can ensure that students are remaining on task and remaining in that assessment throughout the duration of distance learning time, the synchronous live learning time. We did discuss chunking it. It is a lengthy test, and so your scholars might start their day in live sessions with their teachers in WEA testing for maybe 10 questions throughout the week, and then next week we might pick that back up. We felt that was a better practice than having them just sit down and do the entire test in a day or a session.
Ok, esta semana es muy importante para los estudiantes. Vamos a hacer los exámenes para dar un acceso en cómo planear el plan educativo de cada estudiante. Entonces, esta semana están tomando exámenes si no han comenzado desde ayer. El examen es un poquito largo, entonces lo que miramos que sería mejor para cada estudiante es quebrar las preguntas de cada día para no ser el examen tan largo durante todo el día. Hemos visto los resultados un poquito que nos ayuda más a enfocar a los niños en ese aspecto. También tenemos un programa que se llama GoGuardian, que los maestros pueden ver las pantallas de los estudiantes a la misma vez para asegurarse que estén haciendo el examen adecuadamente y a tiempo. También nos ayuda para monitorear ese aspecto también. Esos exámenes es muy importante que los tomen. El diseño de este examen es que cuando comience el examen, si las va correspondiendo correctas, se pone un poquito más difícil. Entonces, eso nos ayuda a agarrar más o menos una idea de dónde está su alumno, en qué aspectos están un poquito más batallando, para ver más o menos la idea en qué podemos enfocarnos y ayudarlos a superar lo que tienen que reprobar o aprender otra vez de nuevo. Es muy importante que sea el tiempo que sea durante el año de tomar estos exámenes y de veras mirar los resultados y tomarlos muy en serio, porque lo tomamos de que cada año queremos que los niños obviamente crezcan un año más educativamente. Entonces es muy importante que tomen estos exámenes y que hagan lo mejor que ellos puedan, porque eso nos ayuda a nosotros en los datos que recibimos con resultados para hacer el plan educativo de cada alumno.
So also throughout distance learning, especially with our younger students, it's been, we've had to really acclimate to what distance learning and how much supervision our students need during live sessions. During assessments, it's really important that they do not receive any assistance other than technical assistance, like help logging in or connecting to the Wi-Fi if it dropped. But I know our kiddos, even when then they're on site, asking for teachers' help, and it's difficult to tell them no, but we really want them practicing perseverance. Our teachers are doing a great job also of really providing encouraging words to them and, letting them know ahead of time that these assessments are adaptive. They're meant to be challenging. They're meant to push students to the point that they don't know. And so that's what gives us a very clear and accurate view of what they have already mastered and then what we need to work with them on.
Entonces, para los grados más chicos, esto es un poquito más difícil porque es el diseño del examen, como les dije, comienza al nivel donde pueden estar y si está fácil se le pone un poquito más y más difícil. Obviamente, los niños es muy difícil cuando llega a un punto que no saben o no entienden que correspondan lo que ellos puedan, porque eso nos da la información a nosotros, saber dónde están y en qué tenemos que trabajar con ellos para que aprendan un poquito más la materia donde están batallando. Es muy difícil decirles que no, porque pues obviamente están chiquitos, pero está diseñado así por una razón. Y es nomás de que darle motivación. Los maestros hacen un buen trabajo de darles palabras de motivación, que sigue adelante, estás haciendo bien, todo eso. Entonces es muy importante también los padres también que los motiven a ese lado también, porque esto les ayudará a ellos después y también ayudará a nosotros también a recibir toda la información que ocupamos para hacer el plan educativo.
So I'm going to go over to the chat real quick that talks about one-on-one assessments similar to Kinder. NWEA is a summative assessment, so we really do just look at the data, the drive instruction. The comment is it seems like it will be inaccurate and skewed because of the distance learning format. So NWEA has put together a distance learning assessment plan. And so our intervention specialist attended that webinar in terms of how to really provide for more successful implementation of that assessment via the computer. We have to account for all of these things during distance learning and that true assessment of is this a true representation of where our kids are. And to that point, we're getting ready to deploy Lexia Core 5. It's a reading intervention program. It also comes with a middle school component called Power Up. I am very familiar with the program. I actually used it as a teacher many, many years ago. But then also as a principal in my former district, we used it. It was used in that district as an intervention only, but I love the program because it meets the needs of all learners. So instead of just students, who might be a year behind grade level, it really provides opportunities to accelerate learning too. And it targets students' individual deficits. So the way that Lexia will work is that, as soon as we implement it, students will have to take that initial assessment, which will put them on a level. Our intervention specialist will be monitoring that. And so there are several core components of the program, and as students work their way through it, Lexia is best utilized 20 minutes a day. So their research shows that any more than 20 minutes a day doesn't really prove to be more effective. Plus, we don't want our kids on the screen and like burnout. It is a little gamified, and so there is that component too. And then we, we will have level up ceremonies and things here at the school as well, or virtually if we need to. But I'm really confident that this program and the way we're going to monitor it and then provide student intervention for all students, not just when we say intervention, it sounds like students who are below grade level, and that's just not the case. Intervention can be, I'm a 5th grader and I'm reading above grade level and I'm working on Greek and Latin root words, but we're not going to learn that until the end of the year, but that's where I'm at in Lexia, but I'm struggling with it. It's going to flag those students, and then they will get one-on-one instruction with our intervention specialist or with the lab specialist. So that's how we're looking to move forward with a more individualized plan. NWEA is summative. It is just a one-shot. It paints a very narrow picture in terms of where kids are currently, but it does help us set goals. And then teachers too know their students. So when you look at that data and you're like, I think they're a little bit higher than that, that's where the teacher can come in and do some work with students individually to discern their true level. Sorry, Irene, that was a lot.
Yeah, I started writing down notes, I'm good. Pero en el chat preguntaron que con los exámenes de NWEA, si siente que por el aprendizaje a distancia los resultados van a ser un poquito no correctos en el aspecto de que porque están aprendiendo a una distancia y no están aquí en persona. Nuestra coordinadora de todos los exámenes fue a un entrenamiento donde hablaron sobre eso. Obviamente los maestros conocen a sus alumnos, entonces tienen más o menos una idea cuando se miran los resultados para ver, supongamos que María batalló en este aspecto, pero la maestra dice, no, cuando hicimos la materia hizo muy bien, o en una tarea hizo muy bien. Entonces, les da la oportunidad de reprobar otra vez la materia con ellos para asegurarse que sí la grasparon a como debería. Incluso vamos a adaptar un programa que se llama Lexia, que tiene también un programa también para los grados más altos, viene siendo 7º y 6º, donde los ponen niveles donde deben estar en lectura. Entonces, eso los ayuda también para entender en dónde están en ese aspecto de lectura y ayuda a nuestro coordinadores de aprendizaje para ayudarnos a eso, estar monitoreando ese aspecto también, para ver dónde están creciendo los niños y dónde están batallando. Entonces, hay planes de agarrar más en detalle para ayudar a los niños en ese aspecto también. Lexia is what was it? The program was a literacy program, right?
Yeah, it's called reading, like a reading intervention program.
Okay. Double check because I explained it. I was like, it is a literacy program. Okay. Pero
Yeah.
Eso es los planes que tenemos con eso. Obviamente con el examen vamos a agarrar los resultados y es nomás como están ahorita. Entonces va a haber lugar para crecimiento, para trabajar un poquito más con los estudiantes, pero eso es lo que estamos haciendo para agarrar todo este plan, para juntarlo todo.
Thank you. We also we're piloting reflex math. And while I am a huge proponent of number sense and number acquisition with our students, really understanding how numbers work, that multiplication, it's not just drill and kill, right? I feel like we probably all did time test and CompuCat and Math Mountain and all of those things. And so we're really moving away from, that idea that faster is smarter, and getting deep in the learning with our kids with math and foundational math skills with number sense, and really helping them to understand that 3 times 3 just isn't 9, but it's 3 groups of 3 and how numbers work together. So that is how we teach math. But the fact is that our kids still have to have fact fluency. And so we just started reflex math. I checked in, we had a student yesterday who had completed 162 math facts. It's very gamified. So from my experience, kids really do enjoy playing reflex. It's adaptive, so it does give them the facts that they need most work on. And so our kids get into reflex every day to get their green light. And so Lexia, we want them on there for about 20 minutes a day. To get your green light in Lexia, because it's adaptive, it could be anywhere from 10 minutes to 30 minutes, but most of the time it's right around 15 to 20 minutes. Our kiddo that was on yesterday spent 36 minutes in reflex, and I think 16-ish of those were after the green light, which tells me that he was having fun. He was having fun in there and really enjoying the program. So we've got reflex right now and Lexia we're getting to roll out that will help provide us with some more information regarding our students and their needs.
Vamos a comenzar un programa que se llama Reflex. Viene siendo otro aspecto para ayudar a los niños con las matemáticas. Incluso tuvimos un estudiante que lo trató ayer. Nomás le pedimos de 10 a 20 minutos que lo traten. Es basado también a lo mismo que te da las preguntas, y cuando vayas corrigiendo las preguntas correctamente, se pone un poquito más difícil para que vayan aprendiendo un poquito más. La manera que está diseñado el programa es por juegos, entonces es muy, les llama la atención a los niños y los entretiene. Entonces, esas son buenas cosas, obviamente, ahorita, porque sí les llama la atención a estar haciendo las materias a como les vaya dando las preguntas. Entonces, eso vamos a comenzar con el programa de Lexia para literatura para los niños.
Okay, I'm gonna put the brakes on our academics. I think that Lexia coming up and reflex and NWEA was the bulk of it in terms of that principal's message. But we have Mr. Pierce, our lead garden educator, with us today, and I invited them here today to just speak to our upcoming family gardening activities. So thank you so much for being with us. And if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about that, we'd love to hear about it.
Let me introduce you.
Thank you, Irene.
No worries. Vamos a cambiar de tema a dejar la parte académico por ahorita. Ya lo habíamos hablado en el mensaje que mandamos con todos los fines de semana. Vamos a hablar con el señor Pierce, que es uno de los maestros de nuestro jardín de aprendizaje. Vamos a hablar sobre el evento que vamos a tener esta semana con ellos en el jardín. Go ahead, Mr. Pierce.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, as Ms. Webb said, we're going to have our first family garden day this Thursday, so tomorrow. It'll be at 4:30, and we'll probably end somewhere between 5 and 5:15. Our focus of the garden day is on preparing and planting a fall and winter garden. So what we need to do before we plant, and how that helps our plants grow faster and larger, and also what crops are in season right now for fall and winter. It'll be Miss Maddie and Miss Vanessa and myself. We've posted the materials you'll need on the newsletter. So we hope to see you guys there, and I think it's going to be a very beneficial topic. We're constantly getting questions about, like, oh, what crops are you guys planting right now? And like, what'd you do to make them so green, or how the fruit's so sweet? So we kind of took that into consideration when we came up with this topic. So hopefully you guys can join us, and looking forward to it.
Vamos a tener nuestro día familiar de jardín mañana de las 4:30 a las 5:15. Los materiales que se van a ocupar para este evento lo incluimos en el correo electrónico que mandamos el domingo, porque los han preguntado muchos qué plantas se están poniendo ahorita en este tiempo del año, durante el otoño y invierno. Entonces vamos a hablar sobre eso también, cómo preparar tu jardín para el cambio del tiempo de verano a otoño y a invierno. Como le dije, será a las 4:30 a las 5:15. Va a estar el señor Pierce, la señorita Maddie y la señorita Vanessa haciendo este video en vivo para tener el día familiar de jardín con ustedes.
Are there any questions for Mr. Pierce about Family Garden Day?
¿Alguna persona tiene una pregunta sobre el día de jardín familiar?
We'll be on Facebook Live. I believe Miss Reamer will be putting out the link for that.
Todo va a ser por la página de Facebook de la escuela, entonces va a ser en vivo.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks so much. I know it was short notice. I appreciate you popping in.
Hey, no worries. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, bye.
Mr. Bobadilla, if you could scroll up on the community comment, that would be great. Thank you. Okay, so our attendance is still looking really good. We do have new requirements from the state in terms of our attendance accountability piece and student work. So that is a component of our attendance tracking, is also work completion and submission. So there is a new form that all of our teachers are having to fill out and submit in terms of student attendance. Because we're distance learning, attendance anymore isn't just showing up to a live session, but it's also then coupled with work submission.
Entonces, la tendencia de los estudiantes ha estado muy bien. En las últimas semanas, obviamente, han habido nuevos cambios con requisitos que pide el Estado para considerar a los niños presentes y que estén haciendo las materias como debe de ser. Hay unos nuevos formularios que tienen que llenar los maestros diciendo que nada más porque se metan a una clase al día no es suficiente. El Estado lo está pidiendo que compruebemos que están entregando las materias cuando se debe de ser y que están haciendo el trabajo. Entonces hay nuevos cambios que ha puesto el Estado de California en ese aspecto y estamos trabajando con los maestros y todos juntos para ayudar a los estudiantes que lleguen a entregar todo lo que tienen que hacer, porque sí son requisitos que los pide el Estado para considerar que ellos atendieron las clases como es aprendizaje a la distancia.
Any questions about attendance or work completion, how to access your students' Google Classroom? There is a grade section in Google Classroom. So if you have your Scholar login, at the top, there's some tabs and one of them is grades. And that grades tab shows what has been assigned and then also what has been turned in and then what has not been turned in. It is a little bit misleading in the fact that it says grades because it doesn't really provide any information in terms of what feedback that was provided or if the student mastered that task or not. It just is more of a reflection of what was turned in and what is outstanding.
Una parte del Google Classroom donde sus estudiantes se meten cada día para ir a sus clases, en lo que está arriba en las letritas está Classwork en medio y enseguida está la palabra grades. Ahí se puede dar cuenta usted de todas las materias que sí se fueron dados a ellos que tienen que completar y si los completaron o no. Entonces ahí se puede meter y puede mirar qué ha completado su estudiante y qué no. Y el día que les dieron las materias también.
September is a literacy month. We are doing a lot of Facebook Live read alouds at 7 o'clock. They are listed on the newsletter. We will be having on September 25th like a celebrity reader day. Traditionally, you know, we invite people from the community to come into our classrooms and read to our crews. This year we are asking for readers from the community to visit our virtual classrooms. So we are going to continue to be providing, you know, for that activity. We will have dress up days that week, and our family literacy night is also coming up. I will see if Ms. Weeby, our librarian, will visit our next town hall or a town hall as we get a little bit closer to really talk more about that. But there will be activities for you guys to complete as a family that go along with our stories, our grade level stories for family literacy night. And I think the other thing that I saw on there is Friday is our Red, White, and Blue Day, celebrating and commemorating, celebrating America and our patriotism and commemorating 9/11.
El mes de septiembre es considerado el mes de literatura. Vamos a tener una semana donde van a tener diferentes temas para vestirse para sus clases por cámara. También el 25 de septiembre vamos a tener a lectores invitados para leerle cada clase que tengan sus estudiantes. Entonces vamos a buscar a lectores que vengan a las clases para leerles un libro. También una de las cosas, este viernes los estudiantes se pueden vestir de colores rojo, blanco y azul en honor del 11 de septiembre y también honorar los Estados Unidos en ese aspecto del Día de Memorial para el 11 de septiembre. Entonces también vamos a tener a Miss Weeby durante la semana que entra, en la reunión para la semana que entra, para hablar sobre la Feria de Literatura, dar más en detalle en eso y las actividades que vamos a tener para las familias ese día también.
Okay. Let's see, Mr. Bobadilla, if you could scroll down, I think that might be it scroll up. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Facebook readings. I think that's about it. So a question regarding waivers and reopening schools. So our governor has provided some guidelines in terms of allowing small cohorts of our most needy students to come back onto campus. We have already brought back some students for services only, so speech services, anything pertaining to like IEP goals for special education. They've been back on campus now. This is the second week here and there for services only. We are currently looking at what bringing back some more of our students back looks like. Guidelines right now state cohorts of 14 with no more than 2 adults. All of the CDC's provisions in place, of course, social distancing, masks, and so on. As an administrative team, we've been meeting just about daily to discuss what that looks like. It is our priority to get kids back on campus as allowed, as permitted, right, as guidelines allow us and as safe to do so. And what that looks like, we have about 76% of our staff back on campus, our teaching staff. That percentage might actually go up a little bit more if we were to include all of our support staff as well. But I know just been looking at the numbers, a good portion of our teachers are now back on campus and providing distance learning from their classrooms. And I do believe it is the intent to apply for a waiver almost as a backup. We're looking at the guidance is slowly starting to allow for students to come back onto campus. So, so that's kind of what we're working with right now. Oh, good. I'm glad that they're excited about seeing their teachers in classrooms.
We were excited. I was so happy to see the teachers.
I know. I know. And you know, I'm gonna hand it over to you in a second, Miss Irene. But for me, I feel like I haven't really met a lot of the staff in person. We've done everything via Zoom. I've been here, but you know, we had our teacher parade and that was great. And we were kind of posted out, and I on my way home, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I think that's the first time that I've seen a lot of them. But it's nice to have them here and to actually see people in person.
All right. Okay, entonces nos preguntaron si habíamos aplicado para unos nuevos como permisos para reabrir la escuela o empezar a traer alumnos para atrás. Esta es nuestra segunda semana que pedimos que los niños que necesitaban servicios especiales regresaran, entonces nomás vienen para servicios, no necesariamente durante todo el día. es por una hora o dos, nomás para unos servicios. Si estamos mirando todas las requisitos que está pidiendo el CDC, también el Estado de California para implementar un regreso de los niños. Ahorita lo que están diciendo que nomás podemos traer grupos de 14 con 2 adultos, no, nada más. Entonces estamos mirando qué es lo que podemos hacer aquí para traerlos en una manera segura, también para proteger a nosotros los empleados y los maestros, y también a los alumnos, porque pues obviamente tenemos que tener todo en consciente de tenerlos a ellos protegidos. Actualmente tenemos 76% de los maestros ya que regresaron, están dando clases en el salón. Entonces ha sido una buena oportunidad para que Ms. Webb los conozca, y porque obviamente con el aprendizaje a la distancia nomás hemos tenido reuniones así por Zoom. Entonces los ha dado la oportunidad a ella conocerlos a todos. Para mí incluso es más bien porque a algunos maestros no los has visto desde marzo. Entonces, poco a poco estamos ya regresando un poquito a la normalidad. Obviamente cada día tenemos reuniones con lo que es de la otra escuela de nosotros, la oficina principal, para ver qué planes podemos hacer para atraer a los niños. Todavía todo está en proceso, porque tenemos que seguir cada requisito, cada regla, cada cambio que hay cada día. Entonces, todo eso se está planeando ahorita, pero no tenemos nada fijo todavía.
Are there any other questions regarding return to school? I feel like the theme of this year is, you know, pivot. I mean, everything is constantly changing, like literally day by day. And so it's very hard to disseminate information, one, because we don't have it until a lot of times end of day. And then, you know, it feels like as soon as we're developing a plan or coming up with something that works, you know, there's like another layer added to bringing kids back. So, you know, we have the CDC recommendations, and now public health has guidelines. And so, you know, each and every day we're just looking at, you know, all of our options in terms of getting our kids back on campus.
Como les dije, cada día las cosas cambian. El Departamento de Salud, el Estado de California, el CDC, entonces todo eso tenemos que seguir las reglas a como ellos vayan poniendo, pero es una cosa que como obviamente es algo nuevo que nunca había pasado, especialmente en este tiempo durante el año escolar. Entonces hay cambios constantemente cada día. Entonces a cada cambio tenemos que adaptar nuestro plan. Entonces nada es como fijo, entonces es nomás cosas que van a venir con tiempo. Si tiene alguna pregunta, la puede poner en el chat y podemos responder a sus preguntas. If you guys haven't had a lunch, it's really good. It's Cuban sandwiches today. I had one. It was really good.
Thanks for that. I have been putting out the menus. I can't wait for kids to be back on campus, because I keep hearing how, like, you know, oh, you think this is good, Mrs. Webb, just wait till the cafe starts making like the regular food. And I'm thinking, the regular food, this is pretty amazing. So I'm looking forward to Chef Jerry's regular food.
To answer your question, yes, you can come to lunch right now. Lunch runs from 11:30 to 1:30. So you still got about an hour or so. So swing on by and grab a lunch.
Yes. We like to have that 2-hour window, just because we know that schedules, you know, not everybody has a lunch. I mean, if you're working, your lunch might not be from 12 to 1 or 11 to 12, or so we like to keep that 2-hour window open. And then our lunchroom Zooms are live. So our teachers have been hosting lunchroom Zooms for our scholars for the past couple of weeks, I believe, you know, just as almost a recess place for students to socialize. And our teachers even felt the need to put like their little Bitmojis on there or their names, because they really, clearly they miss the kids too. But I think that what lunchroom Zooms were created for was that socialization, right? During our lives, the kids don't have much of an opportunity to really chat or socialize. And so we wanted to create that space for them to have recess during that lunch period as well, of course, with supervision, which is why there's a teacher in there. But the kids are really showing up to see their teachers and to spend that one-on-one time that's not, you know, in an academic setting, and really get to know their teacher and talk about puppies and sports and like all of those things. And so it's been great. I know that it's been difficult, you know, for our teachers. There's not a lot of opportunity to really get to know the kids on a personal level, on an individual level. Like when they're in the classroom, they share a lot. And in distance learning, there's just really not a lot of that. So I'm very glad and happy to see that our kids are showing up to lunchroom Zooms to see the teachers. That's great.
Preguntaron si el lunch todavía están dando lunch ahorita. Sí, estamos dando lunch de las 11:30 a la 1:30. Ahora tenemos sándwiches cubanos, están bien ricos, entonces si pueden venir a recoger un lunch. También los salones de horario de lunch que abrimos para los estudiantes para que tengan la oportunidad de ser más sociables, tener un tiempo sociable con sus compañeros, con sus maestros. Hemos visto que los estudiantes están entrando para tener un poquito de tiempo para más practicar con sus compañeros, sus maestros y conocerse uno al otro. Entonces, gracias a ustedes por los padres también, para ayudarlos para que se puedan meter ahí. No es obligatorio, pero es una oportunidad para que ellos tengan ese aspecto, porque no tienen su recreo como tenían aquí normalmente. Entonces, es como una adaptación a recreo también. I agree with you, Samantha. I miss those tostadas.
We'll have to see what we can do. We've already started planning for that day. Miss Irene and I have talked, and Miss Reimer and I have chatted a little bit about, you know, what our festivities can look like moving forward into the fall. We're very hopeful that we'll be able to have some in-person activities as per guidance allows. We're talking about a family movie night, things like that we can do, that's, you know, we can social distance. And then also having a plan B as well, in terms of if we have to, you know, do drive-through celebrations. And so, yeah. Halloween parades by grade level. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I thought it was that's a good idea.
Yeah, the Halloween parades by grade level with masks. Oh, that's super cute. Yeah, we were talking about like grade level, like stands too in the driveway with like, you know, goodies and things as well. You know, how can we, that's one thing that I absolutely do not want to see go away. I mean, we come to school, of course, to learn and to socialize and see our friends and all of that, but we have so much fun in celebrating a lot of cultural things and things that our social norms are founded on and built around. And so it's very, very important to me and the staff. I can tell very much so that nobody wants to see those things go away. We're going to find a way to make those things happen. So we're just going to have to get a little creative, and I love the suggestions and, you know, and ideas from the community. And I mean, the more options we have, the better, for sure.
Yeah, las actividades que normalmente hubiéramos tenido en octubre, estamos planeando otras opciones para, you know, tener una oportunidad de tener cosas, actividades de persona a persona, obviamente siguiendo las reglas de tener distancia con uno al otro. No perder también la normalidad de lo que es Halloween, el Día de los Muertos, todo eso. Entonces estamos planeando cosas, planes para tener un poquito de normalidad para los niños. Como mencionó un papá ahorita, una mamá ahorita, que tantas cosas fueron quitadas y nada es normal ahorita como eran las cosas hace un año. Entonces queremos tener unas actividades y una oportunidad para tener un poquito más de una vida normal, pero también siguiendo las restricciones que tienen implementadas ahorita. Pero sí, eso no lo queremos perder, obviamente, porque es una parte, un mes bien divertido para los alumnos y también para nosotros aquí. Entonces, es muy importante tenerlo todavía en mente y estar planeando todo eso para los niños también.
So we do have a drive-through trunk or treat on the calendar. It's to my understanding that trunk or treat was a POGA event, and so it will remain a POGA event. It just depends on if we're able to do anything on campus or not. I mean, traditionally we had costume contests and different activities that we did throughout the day during the school day. So we might have to like merge those two with you know, trunk or treat and the activities that we've done in the past as a school site. So we don't know what that will look like yet, but we are planning for it and accounting for it in terms of the calendar.
Preguntanos si vamos a tener como cuando maneja una cena y levanta así como dulces, como trunk or treat que tuvimos el año pasado. Ese evento siempre ha sido todo por el programa, el grupo de padres de POGA, entonces necesariamente ellos son los que se encargan de planear y hacer ese evento que es muy divertido para los niños de la comunidad incluso. Entonces sí tenemos eso en mente y estamos planeando todo eso con el grupo de padres de POGA.
Any other questions about upcoming activities or events or curriculum, assessment?
¿Alguna pregunta sobre académico, currículo, exámenes o eventos que vienen en mente?
We were just discussing progress reports earlier today, and with the year looking a little bit different, what that will look like, it is very important to me that we get progress out to parents. But I think that we need a little bit more data. So like with Reflex, there's a parent report. With Lexia and Power Up, there's a parent report. And so in WEA, there's a parent report. And we are going to be looking at once we're completed with these different assessments and kids are starting to like move along in these programs in particular, along with the assignments that they complete with their teachers, the teachers will be scheduling parent conference meetings with you as well.
Con cada examen o cada programa que tengamos estudiantes a hacer, van a ver como un reporte para padres. Ya cuando se viene a que ya completen, tengan todo completo las materias y los exámenes, los maestros van a estar llamándolos a ustedes para hacer reuniones para repasar todo el reporte y darles una idea de dónde están los estudiantes ahorita académicamente. Y darle la oportunidad también de expresar lo que ustedes piensan también y qué es lo que miran ustedes en el hogar. Esos reportes que se van a jalar durante estos programas con Lexia y con todos los accesos que estamos haciendo ahorita.
I think that's all I have for this week and what's coming up and what we've been discussing in terms of growth and progress and parent communication.
That's it. Entonces es todo lo que tenemos ahorita. Si tiene alguna pregunta, como le digo, la puede poner en el chat.